In 1992, a hard-rocking quartet out of Memphis, Tennessee, Roxy Blue, break the charts with their debut release, Want Some. After a successful tour, the band began work on their second record, but due to the rise of the grunge movement, the album didn't perform as well as expected, and the band disbanded shortly after. Always creating, lead singer and songwriter Todd Poole founded the nu metal sensation Saliva. After one album with Saliva, Todd left to form his own new project, 714, with guitarist Chris Turnbow, bassist Matt Dees, and drummer Jimmy Fulp. They go on to release an indie classic, 2012's American Tragic. In 2015, 80s bands were on the comeback trail, and there was a demand for Roxy Blue to reform. Along with Everymothers Nightmare guitarist Jeff Caughron and original members Josh Weil and Scott Tramwell, they craft their comeback self-titled release on Frontier Records in 2019. After touring on the record for several years, Todd is back, always being the consummate songwriter and performer. This is a 99 WNRR and Launch Pad LiveVault Interview with Todd Poole from Roxy Blue.
Hey, this is Todd Poole from Roxy Blue, and you are rocking out with my good friend Michael Presti on New Raquel Radio. Crank it up! How does it
Hi everybody, this is Mike Presti from the WTF radio show and livecast, and also the host of the Launch Pad Live. I first met Todd Poole back in 2012 while his band 714 was prepared to release an indie classic called American Tragic. Little did I know it would be one of the best releases that I have ever heard from an independent artist. I listened to him straight because of this record. But not only that, we began to talk and formed a very close friendship to the point that when I was diagnosed with leukemia in 2015, Todd was one of the first people to give me a call. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, my friend, Mr. Todd Poole.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm actually wanting to work around you. I'm honored that you want to feature Roxy Blue, man. We got a lot going on right now, so I always try to keep you informed of what's going on with us. And I love the last magazine with the 714. So yeah, I'm excited.
All right, because it's good that I know my subject matter very well.
Hey man, let me ask you this: have you heard the record yet?
I've heard the releases yet. I've heard the 3 releases, the ones that you sent me, and a couple that I kind of skipped over when I was, at work, and I'm going listening to the entire record.
Well, you can go to YouTube actually and listen to the entire record and punch in Roxy Blue, but I will send you a disc, or I can actually send you all the songs on MP3, so it'd be a lot easier for you to play them if you want. So it's a cool record, man.
It's not just a cool record, man. It is classic Todd Poole writing. It is. Well,
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
I worked hard on it. I'm ready to. I've written 2 songs. I'm almost done with them. So I'm so excited. I hadn't even soaked in this record yet, and I'm freaking writing a couple more that I wish would have made the record. So.
All right, so let's do this by the numbers, because there's really so much I want to ask, and I want to get this and package it all up, play some tracks in it, and then put it up on Mixcloud and get people starting to share it and talk about it. So I'll do the opening on the side, but first question I want to ask: what made you want to get back with the guys?
Well, I tell you what, man, I've always loved Roxy Blue, and we've always had that thing, but a lot of crap happened, man, back in the day, man, and it was just, I don't even really remember. I mean, I know what happened, but it just seemed like it just went poof, and you know, we just kind of went our separate ways, and you know, to get back together, we tried for years, even with Sid, and it just, you know, I couldn't get Sid to do it, and it was just it just didn't feel right, you know. I mean, I had Saliva going, and even before that, when I had Rail, and then 714 took off, and I really lost touch with, you know, I talk to the guys every once in a while, but we kind of just went, you know, Josh played for Dust for Life after Roxy,
right,
and Scotty played with Nelson and with a bunch of people, and you know, I think the way we got back together was a very cool way. So Patrick Francis of Tour was diagnosed with cancer a few years back, and so he's cool now, but he had asked for me to play, and he had called me, and I'm like, dude, I'd be glad to play acoustic, and he's like, no, dude, I want you to put the band back together, and I want you to play. It's very important that y'all play. Well, I couldn't get everybody back together that short of notice, but I got Josh, and then, of course, Jeff, our new guitar player, was friends of mine, and I asked him to do it, and he was very honored to do it. And the show went over really well, man, and so I don't think we planned on getting back together then, but it was kind of like, hey, man, you know, this is pretty cool. But when it really got back together is we were asked to do a show with Bret Michaels a couple of years ago. And so we all decided to do it, and the rehearsals sounded like we had never been apart. I mean, we were tight. We mainly played one-song songs because we didn't, you know. So during the rehearsals for that show, Nick Teeter from Frontiers calls me while we're taking a break.
Right.
And says, dude, I'm trying to get in touch with you. We just signed to a tour, and we would want to know if you guys would be interested in coming and being a part of the Frontiers family. And he said, we're going to let you make the record the way you want. You know, we're going to let you package it the way you want. And Frontiers has kind of changed on that. And, man, we jumped on it. And we have had nothing but, you know, Frontiers has been awesome to us. And it just gave us a great reason. I think the reason we've all been looking for to get back together. And we made a record. And the guys, I got so excited, man. I started sending demos to the guys, and they were like, dude, it's great, but it's a lot different than the Floyd song. I'm like, dude, it's 27 years later. I don't drive the same car I rode then. I mean, it's just my everything. And, you know, I left it open for them to put their touch on it. So, I mean, I wrote the songs, but I didn't close the door. And, you know, I didn't say, hey, this got to be like this. And, man, dude, they put their touches on it. It was a very easy record to make. I mean, I put a lot of work into it, but, you know, I tried to think about Roxy Blue when we made it, and I thought, dude, I'm going to write from my heart. I don't want to do one-off. We want to go for phase 2, and in order to do that, we got to be who we are now, you know, not. So I think this record we just made is a stepping stone of where we're going to be, and for the most part, people accepted it. I mean, we evolved. You know, we didn't stick around and try to be who we were 27 years ago. I mean, dude, trust me. Back then we had fun, but all I knew was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And I'm not trying to be cliche. I didn't know anything else. I had not lived much of a life. I mean, except for partying and, you know, and just hanging out. And now when I've grown up, I've loved, I've lost, you know, we've all been through a lot of emotional stuff, and that makes for great writing. I mean, you become, I became a father, and 2 times over, and married, and, you know, life had a way of scarring us all, you know, the good and the bad, and I think that it shows on the record.
I think it's, and from what I've heard, it's the natural progression to what you've done, because, you know, there's still a vibe of, I think, the classic, you know, the old school Roxy, because I think, you know, it's there's some of it I love, like Rock and Roll Junkie. It has that kind of tongue-in-cheek vibe to it, but an updated sound and an updated way of writing to the progression from Saliva to 714 and now this. You can see where that progression happens. So I think that...
I actually said that about Rockstar Junkie because to me, that is a song that has, it has that old Roxy sound, especially the way Jeff did the guitar solo. And I just think that that song really lends itself to a little bit of the old Roxy. But Michael, here's the deal. You can't. I don't think we've had a handful of avid bands from back in the day that were like, man, this doesn't sound like Roxy Blue, we know. But man, I don't think anybody can seriously expect you to go back and make the same record that you made back in the day. I mean, how do you do that? I don't think that I physically or mentally would even know how to do that. I don't think I could go back and write, Rob the Cradle. I mean, I don't want to drop out of schoolyard my man and start over. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my little girl liked me at school. Hey, you know what? I got to tell you this too. The one thing, the Rockstar Junkie was the first song written for this record, and I wrote that song for all the fans and for all the rock and rollers and all the musicians that were in that era, because nobody really wanted to put that down. I mean, somebody with quotations, quote unquote, powers to be, said, wipe that smile off your face, you're not hip anymore. You're out of here. And it's funny, you play these festivals and stuff, and you see all these people out here, and they never gave up on that. Just somebody told them it wasn't cool anymore. And so I wrote that for that. I wrote that for all the people that still carry the flag for rock and roll. And if you listen to the lyrics, it's about whoever's in that era that struggled and couldn't put it down because it's in your blood, man. They're chunky for rock and roll, and they didn't. You see all these bands out today, like we just did a show with Warren, and Brett Michaels stood there. A lot of these bands are coming back and playing these festivals, and they're seeing the same thing we're seeing, and they're seeing that people are loving it, and it's like a resurgence, and it's almost like all the bands were kind of thrown in a closet, and now everybody's kind of peeking out the closet going, oh man, it's okay now, we can come out. And it shouldn't have never been like that, but damn it, rock and roll ain't never gonna die, and for some reason a blanket got thrown over everybody, and now I think everybody's realizing, hey man, we're older now, and our crowd evolved with us. So the thing about Roxy is that we love that crowd, but we're also trying to stay in the game and get a new crowd. So,
I think that, I think a big thing that is that, and it's an inspiration to me in the current music situation that I do, but the fact that people used to put on a show, and I constantly stress this to bands and new bands. There was a time when people put on a performance. It's called entertainment for a reason. So the show went along with the music. There was a complete dedication to entertaining for the entire time. And then all of a sudden it wasn't cool anymore, and you had to be accessible, and you had to be just like one of us, or be from the Northwest, or what have you. And all of that just went away. The whole show just went away. And people now are starting to realize that it's what was trying to kill rock and roll completely was the accessibility, the lack of the mystique of the rock star, and how it was that created these bigger than life personas and these bigger than life music that drove people to arenas and stadiums in the tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands, where now, they could barely, there are bands coming out now that could barely fill clubs. You guys, Everymothers Nightmare, And Tour, and all these bands that are building these festivals and bringing rock and roll back, I think for every single rock and roll fan, the only thing we could say is thank you for bringing it back again.
Well, I mean, thank you for saying that, but, I mean, I will say that, you mentioned Everymothers Nightmare Tour. Memphis is so alive and well right now, with Tour coming out with a new record, Roxy coming out with a new record, Everymothers Nightmare coming out with new stuff, and it's weird, man. It's like everybody's coming back, and we're all having fun with it again, and it just seems natural, man. And we played one show together. I think Everymothers Nightmare is getting ready to do a show with us coming up here in Memphis. But man, having that rock, me and Anthony and Rick have all talked about it at one time. We're not going to change for the sake of changing. We're rock and roll. And, I understand that bands have to evolve and everybody's like, man, rock and roll, it's not, it don't sell anymore or whatever. But I think we're all in it for a different reason now than we used to be. Like you said, rock star, I don't know what a rock star, I mean, I know it. I've always said a rock star is a guy that has to get on a golf cart and drive to his mailbox. So, but to me, I'm in it for the music and to stay alive with music and to be able to make great music. And I think as time goes on and you get older and everything that did happen, it grounded all of us and said, I always thought Tour was a great band and Nightmares too, but we were all laughing because we were talking about Rob the Cradle and Anthony said, we had some songs that, we all had songs that we wouldn't write that today. But the fact is that we're all out there now and we're all playing music and we're doing it for the love of music and we're all grateful. We're grateful that Frontiers has given us a platform to get back out there. And I love the shock factor. I love the fact that we didn't play it safe and try to go back and want some too. I like the fact that I've always been that guy who's like, I'm gonna write whatever the fuck I want to write, and I'm not stupid. I want to write what's good, but I mean, if I'm not true to myself and believe in what I'm writing, then the person listening to it they're gonna see right through it. I mean, you can't, especially people that live for rock and roll, they can see through all the crap. So, but yeah, man, we're having a great time with it, and we're just grateful to be back.
I want to talk about you as a songwriter. You have written what I call some of the best songs that I've ever heard personally. From Beautiful Tonight being one of them, of course, and now the current one, How Does It Feel? Especially How Does It Feel? What did you draw upon to write that song? Because it's a Todd classic.
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that. That's beyond a compliment to me, and I appreciate it because as a songwriter, my biggest deal is, as a songwriter, is, my songs mean a lot to me when I write. And some come easy, and some I'll hang on the refrigerator, so to speak, and wait till it comes natural. But, I've always been told by people, that, hey man, you're the ballad writer. You can write the ballads, and I just write songs, man, and I write songs from my heart. So when I draw up a song like How Does It Feel, all my songs come from personal experiences. They really do, and I write most of my songs in my truck because that's where most of them come up in when I'm by myself. And I got a recorder and I kind of mouth it out and sing something and then come it out.
I know it.
Like how does it feel? I talked to you about, first of all, I talked to you about Beautiful Tonight, from 714 back in the day, and you really went to bat for us on that. And I got to tell you, that song, I literally was sitting on the bed and watching my little girl, my daughter, in the bathroom, getting ready in the mirror, and I was just looking at how freaking grateful I was, and looking at these two beautiful women that are in my life, and how grateful and how blessed I was, and it just came to me. A song like How Does It Feel? Man, that song is kind of a deep meaning, and so what that song means to me, you know how I am as a writer, man. I'll write, it doesn't necessarily have to mean the same thing as someone else, as long as they get something out of it. But How Does It Feel? Is basically everyone in life it can be brutal, and it can be beautiful. But it leaves scars one way or another, and you have things that tug on you, and you go through things, and you have that moment when you're by yourself. And I've always said that I thought people to me are at their purest and at their most innocent when they're by themselves. That's when they can be who they really are. So how does it feel to me is to have that moment when you are by yourself and you let it all, everything go. Even if it's for 5 seconds or whatever, and you don't have any worries, you don't have anybody tugging on you, and you can close your eyes and you feel at peace. Now the question is, how cool will it be if you can have that forever? And that's how does it feel? It's almost a dream. It's just like, man, if I could release all the pressures in the world, that's the best feeling in the world. And we all know that will never happen, but it does. If you could ever just get that for 5 minutes and get that one peace of mind, that's where how does it feel is balled up into that right there.
Well, there's some people who do know. There's a majority that do not know about your relationship and the fact that your father-in-law was the great Jimmy Jamison. And I wanted to ask this question. I always wanted to ask this of you. What lessons did he, of course, from the great iconic band Survivor and the wonderful band Cobra, which I liked. What kind of lessons did he impart on you?
Well, it's weird, Jimmy, because when I was a young kid, man, and my story with Jimmy is really weird, man, and it's really weird how I became his son-in-law. So when I was about 12 or 13 years old, about 12, I had Kiss Alive, and one of my first, that was my first real rock record. And then my friend across the street came over and said, hey, my uncle plays drums for this band. You should listen to this record. It's called Target. And Jimmy was the singer. And when I heard his voice, I said, my God, that's the best voice I've ever heard. I want to be just like that. So I kind of idolized him, and we went to see him with Black Sabbath at the Coliseum, and Jimmy told me years later that Amy was like, she was there, but she was like a little kid, and I didn't meet him. But I got to tell you, my whole life I used to follow Jimmy, and he was in Cobra, and I used to sneak in bars just to see him play. And so one night I played at this place, and Jimmy showed up. And my friend that played the band, Jeff Adams, who plays with Starship, told me he was playing with me. He said, Jimmy came out to see you play. And Jimmy always denied this, but Jeff said, that guy up there, he don't have it yet, but he's got something special, and I think if he keeps doing what he's doing, you're going to hear a lot of it. So years later, he ends up doing the Baywatch thing in L.A., and we're out making our record, and he comes to the studio to sing Times Are Changing with me in the studio with Mike Klink, and Jimmy and I just developed a friendship over the years. I used to go to his house and hang out in his studio, never knowing that his daughter, who is my wife, was in the house. Never met her. And then after the Saliva deal, I worked in a music store for a short period of time, and she came in to buy a guitar, Taylor acoustic, and I met her. But the things that Jimmy did for me is, it's weird, man. Jimmy was one of those guys, man, that he sounded good when he talked, but he was the most humble human being. So I guess if I learned anything from Jimmy, it's to always be humble and to always stay true to yourself and realize that nobody's going to do it for you. You got to get out there and do it yourself. And Jimmy pushed me really hard. I played drums for him for a long time, and Jimmy was the greatest singer to me. But he was a great loss. Actually, this Sunday is my birthday, and it's actually the anniversary of his passing. But Jimmy, I guess he influenced me in more ways than I know, but I think he grounded me. He's probably the one guy that grounded me as far as trying not to take things too serious, but stay serious in what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Don't forget to relax and enjoy what you're doing. And don't get caught up in it so much that you forget why you started doing it, and that's because you're having fun. And I think that's what Jimmy gave to me the most, is when I watched him be on stage and be the ultimate rock star, and then get done playing and want to go home and water his garden. I mean, come on, man. He and I would sit back and play horseshoes, and I saw a man have more fun doing that, and then the next weekend go out and play in front of 5,000 people. So, or 20.
Man.
But yeah, and thank you for saying it. Jimmy was a great soul, and he was put on this earth for a reason. And we cherish him every day. I mean, he is just he was an awesome human being, and he's with us every day. And he was a great father-in-law too. I mean, he loved me, and I promised him, no matter what in life, whatever happens, that I would take care of his daughter and his grandfather. So we were good.
Cool. That's awesome. By the way, how's the fam? How's Amy?
Amy's good, man. I mean, I just got off the phone with her a little while ago and told her that you and I were going to be talking. She told me to tell you hello, and she's doing good, man. She doesn't play as much as she used to play. Of course, she's the ultimate mom. My daughter, our daughter's 12 now, she's about to be 13, going on 18. So if I could just get her to look away from her phone for 5 seconds, that would be nice. But Amy's she's very supportive with the Roxy stuff. She really, speaking of Amy, it's weird because when we made this record, I didn't let Amy hear anything that I did until the record was completely done. And the reason I did that is I gave her the first disc, and I said, look, it's not done yet, but this is a disc I made. I want you to listen to it, and I want you to have it, and I want you to live with it, and your opinion means everything to me. And she genuinely came back, and she loved it, and told me that she's actually the one that voted for Silver Lining to be the first single. And I would have never thought that, because she's not a heavy rocker. But she said that song spoke to her. So there you have it.
And not only that, I think
that was the first single. That was the first single because of Amy and Matt Dees. So
I think, but also what it did. Good.
Do what now?
Was that?
Yeah, what'd you say?
I said, I think that track was a great introduction because it was something that was the progression that we talked about as far as the new how Roxy Blue is sounding now. I think if it was something that might have sounded close to like the old stuff, I don't think it would have had the impact that it does. And I think it's a great introduction to saying, hey guys, we're back together, but this is how we sound now.
Man, it's weird you say that because people ask me, how did you feel about the new record? How do you feel about your record coming out? I'm like, it's weird. After 27 years, this is the first studio record that we've made. We had some F&A stuff come out, but that was just demo stuff.
Yeah.
It's a serious record. So when Silver Lining was getting ready to come out, it was so bittersweet because it doesn't really. I mean, we were proud of it, but when Silver Lining hit, I do agree with you. I do agree that the right choice was made. I don't think it's a monster radio hit or nothing, but I think it was a great representation of what the record is. And Silver Lining is that song means so much. And I think the reason Amy liked it is that Silver Lining is that moment between a negative and a positive when you have to make that choice. And you're in that zone, man, and that's the Silver Lining. It was such a bittersweet feel to come out because I'm like, man, I'm really excited about the new single coming out. But you're sitting there kind of going, I wonder what people are going to think about it because it was completely different, Even though I had 714 and I was used to, playing that, I was into that zone of rock and roll. You just never knew what people were going to think of the new Roxy, were they going to accept it or they weren't. And thank God they did, but I do agree with you, and I'm so proud that you said that because I do think that Silver Lining represented, it was a good choice for the coming out of the gates with the new record.
Yeah. To me, that's the only reason. When I heard the track, to me, the first thing I did not think of was Roxy Blue. I immediately thought about Todd, and I thought about the progression and what I know of what you've written over the years from Saliva to 714 to this. So to me, it was just a natural thing, because I have the privilege of knowing what you've written for such a long time and hearing all of it. So. To me, it was just a natural progression thing. I've said that's another Todd classic. To me, if it didn't sound like '89 Roxy Blue, I wasn't hurt over it. I like the new vibe.
Well, I appreciate it. You were very supportive with the 714 stuff, and I got to tell you, we had a few people that they liked my writing and stuff, but we had a very few comments that it sounded like, Todd Poole with Roxy Blue tagged on it. But I gotta tell you, the defense the argument that I'll make about that, them saying that when you listen to the record, Todd Poole's gonna write the way I write, and I'm glad that I have a sound that doesn't sound like anybody else, because to me, that's what makes you separated from, putting on 10 different acts and not being able to tell which one is which. I like the fact that good or bad, I'll sound like me. But the one thing to me that really stands out on the record is that when you hear the whole record, you will notice this. To me, what brings the Roxy vibe, even in the new age, Josh and Scotty T, when they play drums and bass together, they have such a chemistry. And they've evolved too, but they're both great players. But when they had their drums and the bass to the songs, when they did that, I'll never forget Jimmy Falk, the guy who co-produced and engineered the record, and mixed the record. He looked over at me. We had about 3 tracks they had cut. And he looked over at me and he goes, dude, now it sounds like a Roxy Blue record. There's just something about the way they play that brings that. Those cats, they're like one entity. They don't even need to talk to each other, nothing. They can walk in a room after 20 years and they start playing and they know what each other are going to do no matter what. So, and, of course, Jeff. So another reason Michael's this. Okay, here's the deal. So you got me and Sid who wrote pretty much one song. So Sid and I don't write it. We didn't like this record. And, of course, like I said before, we've all had different influences. But I think when we got Jeff, the one thing we didn't want to do is we didn't want to get a clone of Sid.
Right.
We didn't want to get, there's a bunch of people out there, Sid was a great guitar player, but there's a bunch of people out there that could mimic Sid and do all that. But I don't feel like that would have been true for us. First of all, I wanted to get somebody we got along with. I wanted to get somebody that was into winning, or somebody who was in for the long haul. And I also wanted to get somebody that could bring something to the table that he, Jeff respects Sid. But I told Jeff in the beginning, I said, don't try to be Sid. You're going to have a lot of pressure on you. People are going to be like, when you play your own stuff, can you do the Sid stuff? He can't. I said, do that stuff, but do it your own way. I said, but the one thing that Jeff brings to the table is Jeff is a real rock and roll guitar player. He's a real player, and he's a team player. And to me, to be able to write this kind of songs that I write, I'm blessed to have 3 guys that are so talented that they allow me to be who I am without, because there's a lot of bands and, you always have somebody that writes the songs. And some people have 2 or 3, and everybody in our band can write. But they allow me to be who I am without clustering me or saying, well, hey man, let me write a song, or, Bob, they think when it's going, it's going. I opened the door to them when we made this record, and I said, hey guys, so I think we had about 15 songs or so, maybe a little more. And we all got together and we picked the songs that we wanted to be on the record. And I gave them that opportunity. I was like, look, man, I'm not trying to say this is what it's got to be. I'll state my opinion, everybody state theirs, and, man, everybody, they dug it. They believe in what I do, and, you're a fan of my writing, but, what makes somebody be able to write good, if you're in a band, is to have a team around you that cheerleads you, that doesn't go against you, that they're in it to make good music and they believe in my writing, so they don't make me feel guilty for not letting them come up with something. So, we got a great relationship in this band. Everybody's like, they're happy with everything. And, I tell you, one of the favorite songs of the band is a song on a record called Collide. And I don't know if you've heard that one or not, but I got to tell you, man, that son of a bitch was 6 minutes long when I wrote it. And Scotty came to me and said, dude, me and Josh talked, and Jeff, this song is a freaking hit. Now make it 4 minutes long so we can get it on the radio. That was one of the hardest tasks I've ever done in my life, and I didn't make it 4, but I made it a little over 4.
Yeah,
so
just a shy under 5 minutes.
Yeah, we're gonna try to make a video for that one too, just because I just think that song speaks. We get a lot of comments on it.
Cool. I'm actually like.
I like every fucking song on the record.
Yeah. I'm actually a big fan of Blinders. I like Blinders a lot. I listen to that one too. And you don't have to bother about sending me the MP3s. I bought the record.
the Blinders about, because I gotta tell you, that's the closest one to my heart.
Yeah, Blinders to me is Blinders to me for me personally. Blinders to me is that song on the record. Yeah.
All right, well that's Jimmy Falk's favorite. I wrote the beginning line of that song the day after my father passed away. So when I say, "Here I lie awake at night, the TV screen's the only light," that's for real. That's what was happening. I laid in my bed, the TV was on, no lights except for the TV, no sound, thinking about, could I have been there for my dad more? My dad died of Parkinson's disease in my arms after 16 years of battling it, and he was my best friend. And the song is really not about my father passing away. It's about how I dealt with that. And I have had a lot of people email me and comment on how that song has actually helped them through some trying times. So, yeah, that song means a hell of a lot to me, man. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah, well, obviously it speaks to me and what I deal with. So, but speaking of which, how is Jimmy? How's he doing?
Jimmy's doing great, man. We're working on some stuff tonight. We're working on some loops and stuff that we're going to do for getting ready to start doing some headlining shows. So we're going to go in the studio and just go in there and have some fun and do some some tracks and stuff and have some fun with it. He's doing great, man.
That's good. I like to hear that. What do you think's gonna be next for the next move? Not like you said, you're still writing more stuff, so you got the juices flowing. Is there gonna be another record?
Well, there's definitely gonna be another record, but our next on our agenda is to get out and start playing live. And
oh yeah.
I'm definitely we're gonna try to come to your neck of the woods for sure. We just hooked up with Bradley Entertainment, and
yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. Me and Anthony from Tour were talking about this. Me getting a booking agent and getting out and playing. It's just so much harder than it used to be because you don't have that tour support that you used to have. So, Frontiers is going to do all of our overseas stuff, and I'm hoping to do that. But as far as North America goes, we had to get a booking agent. So I talked to Brad Lee. He's into it. I think we're going to make the announcement on Friday, tomorrow. But because it's been a lot on me. But I think our next move is to start playing live, dude. Because the thing is, Roxy Blue is a live band. And that's the reason we started playing in the first place. And we love making records, and we're going to make records, for sure. But, playing live, that's what we got to do. I mean, we got to get out there and show people what's up, and we bring the live shows to everybody, get everybody excited about it. And, it's weird, man. Playing live actually helps create the next record for me.
Oh, yeah.
So I told the guys, I said, look, guys, if we're not going to play live, we don't need to be doing this. And, they all just started laughing at me, like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, we got to play live. We got to play live. We got to get busy. That doesn't mean we need to rent a tour bus and go in the hole and try to do a peanut butter and jelly tour where we make no money around the whole country. But it does mean we need to get out and start playing and do flyouts and whatever we got to do and try to reach as many people as we can so we can show people that Roxy Blue is back. And that's the reason we started playing in the first place. So let's not... So everybody, the good thing about Roxy is we're all on board. Everybody's excited. Everybody's at the top of their game playing. And, we're excited. And I'm going to tell you one thing. Coming to your neck of the woods is very important to me because we've talked about this for years, and we tried to make it happen at 714, and for some reason it didn't work out. But we're going to make it work out this time. We've got to, man. Because if you and I do not get together this time around, it will be sad.
Well, I already told the missus. I said, Well, one of two things is going to happen in the next couple of years. It's either that they're going to get here somehow, or I'm just going to screw it and I'm just going to fly my ass out to Memphis in the next 2 years.
Well, we're going to make it happen no matter what. I promise you that. We're going to do it. Because here's the deal. You've been such a great supporter. You and I became friends over the years, and you know, you helped out with my Boys and Under the Radar, which did great on your launch, and you know, we've just become friends, and you know, I don't hold that word very lightly, man. When I call somebody my friend, it's somebody that I know that will be there for me, and the same as I'll be there for them. I was very worried about you for a long time with your situation, and to let you know, I thought about you daily. It just meant a lot to me because, I don't know why. I guess it's because you're so close to my heart, man, and you've done so much for me, and you and I have just been real with each other, man, and just been buddies. But we never hooked up. And so it's a goal of mine to make sure that we hook up and sit around and do a live deal on your radio deal sitting right fucking next to you.
Me too, man. Me too.
That way we can high five and then, drink some scotch or some jack together. So it'd be fun. It's not something that I've, gone out there and going overboard and made public and everything like that. And, all I've got to say how I feel about you, brother, is that, you were the first ones to call me and talk about it. And, while I'm still battling, I still know I got you in my corner. There's not many I know that I really have in my corner. Man, I know that you're in my corner, brother. So know that. Oh, yeah, I'll pray, man, dude. I'll always be in your corner, man. And the thing is, man, I don't think anybody that's not going through that can literally say, I understand. I don't understand. I do know that having friends and to support you and people you can count on and you can call when you freaking need a vent, and that's important. But man, feeling good and trying to make the best of every day. And I know in your situation that you've looked at life a whole different way. I get it. And man, yeah, dude, and I gotta tell you something else though. On the rock and roll side of things, I think I can speak for a lot of people. And I ain't blowing smoke up your ass when I say this, man. I mean this from my heart. Man, you having your radio show and putting music out there and believing in music and believing in rock and roll, dude, that speaks volumes for a lot of people, man, because you give everyone a platform for their music to be heard. People, a lot of bands wouldn't even be heard. You allow that to happen. Man, dude, that's awesome, man, and your show's doing great.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I think, when we discussed it and when we changed the format and we wanted to give somebody to talk about and get the fans involved, and I'll tell you, when we changed the format and it just took off, man. It just took off. It's taken off.
Man, it's great, man, and I've noticed everybody's starting to get into the launch, man, and it's like it's just cool, man. It's just like it's involving even people that are just voting, man. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And the music's great. The one thing I love about it though is this. So when you go listen to your show, which I have many times, you can't just fast forward through it, man. You gotta listen to the whole damn thing. And dude, that's what's cool, man. And all these bands, you turn me on to so many bands that I've never heard of. And I'm sure that other bands can say the same. And man, there's some damn good bands out there that a lot of people might not have heard of that are listening to your radio station, man, and going, fuck, dude, this shit's great. So kudos to the bands out there, too. They're sounding great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff that's coming out. Even for bands that are putting out, new releases and stuff like that have been around for a little bit. Yeah, there's just a crop of just really hard working, good music that's coming out that really gets down into the soul, So it's I'm blown away. I'm blown away every week from new stuff, man.
I know, it's cool. Are you in Jersey?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I got friends in Jersey that are begging me to come to Jersey, and I told them I have a good reason to come there, not just because of them. So I tell them to listen to your stuff all the time, dude, and they do. So, I mean, I'm trying to go to bat for you, too. So, and I wanted to tell you, and I meant to tell you this when we first got on there, all the guys in the band told me to tell you hi, and thank you for doing this for us. We really appreciate it.
Oh. Tell them they're more than welcome, man. It's amazing stuff, and it's my pleasure, and it's an honor to play great music. I mean, it just is. I believe in it.
So I need to send you. I'm gonna send you some photos, man. I'll email you some photos, and man, I'm going to the studio and hanging out with Jimmy Paul, and I'm gonna be. Hanging out. We're actually doing some tracks, man, to do a headlining show. We're doing some of the new songs we got on the record. We got a couple loops in them and stuff, so we're just gonna beef it up, man. We don't use tracks really, but we're gonna use a few tracks for in between songs and stuff, and try to make it just put a big show together for people, so they're not just coming to a concert where a band plays one song after another. We're going to make a show out of it. So,
okay.
Kind of, my buddy Zach Myers and Shinedown he just kind of enhanced me on that. I made it to another night. We were talking, man, people pay money to come to shows, and you can't just play. You gotta give them, their money's worth and more. So. I was talking to him about, he lives around the corner from me, actually. I was talking to him about the new song we got out, Monsters, and that song's so great. And we just got to talking, man, and, Zach's been a fan of mine forever, and, of course, I love those guys to death. So, yeah, we're just going to, we're going to try to get a headlining show kind of set in stone, and try to bring it to everybody we can, man.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds cool. Hey, you know what? Thanks. I want to say you are an inspiration for getting me back on stage, with all the positive, vibe and everything like that. Someone asked me, hey, man, you want to just get into this, outfit and get back and just jam and create something? I said, I'm only going to do it if you guys put on a show. And so I'm now playing again, and, we're starting to get, we're getting pretty booked up, and I'm having a blast. So thanks for being
Thank you, man. I saw that you were doing that, and I was like, wow. And let me tell you something about music. Music is an emotion, and music keeps you young at heart. It keeps you energized. It gives you something to look forward to, because you're not only doing it for yourself, you're doing it for somebody else. And there's no greater feeling in the world than sitting in a room or anywhere with other musicians and playing, and it coming together, and you get that feeling when it feels so good. And there's nothing like it. And that's why I'm a Sound City guy. If I have any advice for anybody out there that's playing music, pick up an instrument and play music. And get off your computer. There's so many people that are making records just to make a record, but they're not feeling what it is to be a musician, and that is to get in a room and play music together, no matter what you're doing, because, it puts a smile on your face, man. And when you play live, it puts a smile on somebody else's face. And that one moment when you connect and something feels really good, dude, it's almost better than sex, you know?
I tried to explain that to Chris. I told her, I said, this is no slight, hun. I said, but you don't get it. I said, when you have more, think about it, you have 5 people that all have to get in sync with each other and not only play, and get it right, but play with the passion that comes with it. I said, you cannot describe it. It's the closest thing to God that you can get. And yes, it is better than sex when it's right.
You're correct. And I gotta tell you, man, like at one point in my life, I had somebody come to me and go, hey man, hey, you're really loud up there. You got a lot of feedback. And I said, thank you. Because to me, man, dude, feedback, I don't like being paid. To me, you can hit an E chord or whatever and let that motherfucker ring. And to me, that is like standing on top of a freaking mountain doing yelling at God for saying, check it out. So that's what it's about to me. It's not about how much you play. It's about that feeling you get, just that emotion, just with just the sound, man. And like you said, unless you're doing it, there's no way you can understand that. Even if you're in the audience and you're loving what you hear, when you got a guitar strapped on, or you're singing, or you're playing drums or bass or whatever, when it all comes together, there's just that, you know what I'm saying, because you've been there. So it's like that, when there's that moment where you just smile and you're just like, God, dude, this sounds great. It is. It's magic. So I'm so glad you're back out doing what you're doing and what you love to do. So kudos on that, my friend.
Thanks, man. Hey, listen, I'll let you go. You got some stuff to do. I'm gonna get back and EQ this up and edit it and get it on out there. So, well, it was nice. It was good. Go ahead.
I'll get you some photos. I'll email you some photos. And man, you can call me anytime you want. Man, I had a fucking blast talking to you, and I love you to death, and thank you so much for hooking up with me.
Love you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. See you, man.
You got it.
Later.
Take care. Bye.